So it's September, and about a month has passed since the Tokyo Olympics was concluded, and I guess considering the state of the world, things went about as good as they could have gone. But if you weren't in Japan, you might have missed out some of the drama that happened, so I thought it might be fun to take a look back at the disaster that was the Tokyo 2020 Games. So a fun fact first, as some of the returning viewers may know, that this is actually my second time living in Japan. And one of the main reasons actually that I came back to Japan was because I wanted to live in the country in 2020 and experience what it was like during the Olympics, travel around and film as much as I could. What a dream that turned out to be. So let's get started. First off, the opening ceremony was kind of interesting, but that whole drone sphere thing kind of reminded everybody of the pandemic, and also at this time Tokyo was setting a record of about 3,000 cases a day. But the whole ceremony was kind of disorganized. It didn't seem to quite match up, and that may have been because 1 month before the opening of the games, the director of the ceremony was actually fired when an old comedy sketch of him in the 90s resurfaced, where he was making jokes about the Holocaust. So, you know, that makes sense. If the director steps down, it's probably going to be a little bit disorganized, but he's one guy. How much good a difference could he make? Well, it wasn't just the one guy, because 3 days earlier, the composer for the opening games was also stood down after a video of him resurfaced on social media of him bullying his classmates when he was younger. And when I say bullying, I mean putting people into cardboard boxes and tormenting disabled people. Okay, so that's not really the face that you want to have on the global stage. And, you know, but these are things that happened decades ago, and maybe people deserve a second chance, and people do change, of course. So, was there anything recent that happened that was really controversial during the Olympics? Yes, there was. In March, the previous creative director of the Olympics was forced to resign after his suggestion that popular female comedian Naomi Watanabe be lowered into the ring wearing pig ears in what he dubbed as his own idea as the Olympig initiative. Of course, this was initially a private comment he made in a line group between the other committee members, but it was made public, and then, of course, with public outcry, he was forced to resign. Now, Japan doesn't have the best gender relations, to put it lightly, but what's really astounding about this comment is that it came just 1 month after former Prime Minister and President of the Tokyo 2020 Committee, Mori, was forced to resign for another comment that was made about women. Now, Mori was quite a popular Prime Minister from what I've been told, and was slated to be quite a good choice for the 2020 Games Committee, but the issue arose when a suggestion was made to increase the female committee members from 20% to 40%, to which Mori responded, and I quote, "A meeting of an executive board that includes many more women would take more time." But that wasn't all he said, because there was already some female board members at this time, and when asked about this, he remarked, "Oh yeah, there's about 7, but they know how to behave." Yeah, so he was quickly replaced by female lawmaker Seiko Hashimoto, who herself is a 7-time Olympian, track cyclist and speed skater, I believe. And as strange as these comments may sound to people outside of Japan, it's all too reminiscent of earlier in the lockdown when the mayor of Osaka actually made a comment that only men should go shopping for groceries during the lockdown because women take too long. But speaking of pandemics and lockdowns, what was being done to reduce the spread of the virus during the games and specifically inside the Olympic Village? Well, one company had the answer. A Japanese company by the name of Airweave provided all the beds for the Olympic Athlete Village. And these beds were quite interesting. They were made from cardboard, recycled, and they were said initially to only support the weight of one person and would collapse after any sustained movement. And I suppose to help prevent spread of viruses and such as cooties, you know, if they really wanted a sexless bed, they could have just asked for mine. But after this story came out, officials were very quick to debunk the story and say that no, this is just for sustainable reasons and to help prevent the spread of the virus. And there was some videos that came out of athletes jumping on them and having pillow fights without them breaking. Of course, the New Zealand team also reported that by sitting on the beds they would bend, and there was a Korean athlete who said his broke just from normal use. So I guess it's a bit of a mixed bag. And speaking of mixed bags, after this story came out, the Olympic officials were very quick to announce that they were handing out free condoms at the Olympic Games, as they have been doing for the last 33 years. In fact, in 2016, the Rio Olympics, they handed out 450,000 condoms. Unfortunately, in the Tokyo Olympics, they're only going to hand out 160,000. But the officials were very clear that these condoms were not to be used for sex. No. These are souvenirs that the athletes are supposed to take home and use to spread the message of safe sex in their own countries. Okay, guys. Okay. So this is just a fun little video that I thought I'd make about all the silly things that happened during the Olympics. There was a lot of other drama too that happened, but I didn't really want to talk about the athletes very much. I'd rather just talk about the officials. And with all the recycled beds and all the recycled committee members, how much could it really have cost? $15 billion. $15 billion sounds like a lot of money, but we should put that in perspective, right? In the 2016 Sochi Games, a single road cost $6.8 billion, and that was only 28 miles long. If that was a regular road, you could have paved it in about half an inch of beluga caviar. That's how much it cost, and that was only used in, I think, a couple events, maybe snowboarding and skiing or something. So Japan could have done a lot worse. So good job. Of course, they could have done a lot better too. The Vancouver Winter Games only cost $1.5 billion total, but that's Winter Olympics and nobody cares about that. It's summer or go home. I've just been having a little bit of fun making these midweek videos like this. Let me know if you like it in the comments below, and until the next one, peace.